A lot of police officers are dealing with their grief and confusion in private. One top commander sharing his thoughts publicly.
And we want to say good morning to Dallas Police Major Max Guerin. Now, you wrote about 27 very tough hours. And this was originally thoughts you put down just for your own use. But then they became very widely distributed. People found what you wrote very powerful.
Yes, I realized that I was cycling through emotions and I wasn't sleeping very well in the immediate aftermath. And I've always found writing to be therapeutic, cathartic, and so I sat down Saturday morning with my laptop and started writing and out at board.
You were off duty. You said you just finished dinner and got word from one of your lieutenants that it hit the fan, and you knew exactly what you needed to do, which is get the uniform and head downtown.
Yes, sir. As soon as I hung up with him, I got a phone call from my ex-wife saying that she was getting calls from relatives saying, "What's going on? We're hearing about officers being shot in downtown. Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm headed down that way. Give our kids some love, hugs and sugars, and I'll talk to you after a while."
At more than 20 years in the Dallas Police Department, you sadly knew some of the individuals who died that night.
I did. All of us in the command post that night knew someone, and what I did in the command post was really pretty inconsequential to the sacrifices and the heroism that I witnessed from those officers and from the officers protecting everyone else out there.
And you wrote about complications that arose. This other smaller demonstration after the shooting occurred.
Sure. We continued to see officers pressing on and doing their job in remarkable fashion. It's a credit to them that in spite of the loss and knowing of the deaths of other officers, they continued to do their job. And they stood there and protected the citizenry and that store from the demonstrators.
And if this protest were to happen tomorrow night, they would be back out there doing the same thing, protecting the rights of those protesters to demonstrate, to exercise their free speech rights.
They absolutely would, and Chief Brown's talked about it phenomenally, and we have a long history of doing that in this community. This department is ahead of the nation. It's a leader in dealing with that and providing protection for people to exercise those rights.
And processing your own emotions proved to be one of the challenging aspects of all this, because you, of course, initially you're on duty. You've got to keep it together.
Sure. From everything that I've heard and I've watched and I've learned, a component of leadership involves being vulnerable and talking, and the thought of any of the officers that work for me and work with me, the thought of them struggling or having trouble going through this, there's too many police suicides, and I want them to know that talking about it helped me, and that we need to find a way to deal with the grief and the trauma.
Going ahead, we had somebody on Friday who said, well, this could very much change the way that police departments operate in this country. And I thought, how? What could you have done differently? You can't second guess your actions of that night.
No, and I've said before, Americans control the American way of life, and it's not terrorism that does that. So we can either choose to ratchet it down and restrict our freedoms, or we can continue to protect those and allow people to do what the Constitution says that they can. And we on the department stand ready to protect them to do that.
Does it make you feel in any way a little bit better that it was apparently one guy and not a conspiracy against the police?
I don't know that I've thought about it in those terms. It's still a very tragic and horrific situation, and we each have to work to find our way through that, and that was my goal.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.